What's up guys, and welcome back for another recipe. Today we are going to make a little breakfast treat. We're gonna do a pumpkin oat bran chocolate chip muffin. So when you're bored of your plain old boring oatmeal in the morning or your eggs or your pancakes, you guys can have this nice option sitting there for you that's gonna be sweet, tasty, and high in protein. So we're gonna first start out by preheating your oven to 350 degrees. And you're gonna need two separate mixing bowls for these muffins. We're gonna start out first by mixing our wet ingredients separate from our dry ingredients. So we're gonna start with one of our main ingredients here, our pumpkin. So make sure you guys have pure pumpkin. I just happened to get the organic this time, just because that's all the store had. But we're gonna use 3/4 a cup of organic pumpkin. Next, we're gonna add our fat source, which today I'm gonna use coconut oil, but you could use butter or something else. But we're gonna do 1 full tablespoon of coconut oil, which is 14 grams. And I've already got that melted up. I just heated it in the microwave for about 30 seconds. So you're gonna wanna melt that up. That way it blends easily. Adding that little bit of coconut oil doesn't make the fat incredibly high in this recipe, which is nice. It doesn't make it too high in fat, but it adds a little bit of fat so that these are a little bit more filling. Next, we're gonna add 1 whole egg white. I'm just using the liquid egg white, so I measured it out, which ends up being 3 tablespoons or 46 grams of egg whites. For milk, I'm gonna use the Silk unsweetened cashew milk, and we're gonna add 1/2 cup of milk. Next, we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of pure vanilla extract. For a sweetener today, I'm gonna use a little something different. I'm just gonna use sugar-free maple syrup. I'm gonna add 1/4 cup of this. If you guys wanna use pure maple syrup, you absolutely can. That's just gonna make it a little bit higher in sugar and calories. So I'm just gonna use the sugar-free because it's all I have on hand. But you could definitely substitute in honey, or if you wanna use Splenda, or something like that, you could as well. You could still do the same amount. At this point, we're gonna go ahead and stir this up. You can go ahead and set your liquid ingredients aside. Grab your next bowl for your dry ingredients. So we're gonna start with the proteins, or the protons, and I am gonna use my favorite pumpkin pie MTS Whey. If you guys did not get your hands on this, you know for next time that you gotta grab that shit while you can, because it goes quick. My favorite. So we're gonna add 1.5 scoops. If you don't have the pumpkin pie, you can absolutely substitute in probably any other whey protein, honestly, by MTS Nutrition would taste good. Even if you did a chocolatey one, I think it's gonna work with this recipe. But I just like the pumpkin because it enhances all our pumpkin flavors, but you're good to go if you have MTS Nutrition on hand. For these, since they're gonna be oat bran muffins, I've got some oat bran. It says hot cereal, but you can certainly use this for your recipe. We're gonna add 1 full cup of the oat bran. I like the oat bran because it's super high in fiber, and 1/3 cup of this, you've got 7 grams of fiber. That's 7 out of the 26 grams of carbohydrates, only 2.5 fat here. You've got 7 grams of fiber too coming from the oat bran. Also a good source of iron. So this is great to have on hand for like morning cereal as well, but if you're not someone that wants to like eat hot cereal, this is a great way to sneak it into a recipe. So I'm using 1/2 cup right now, but we're gonna add a full cup of the oat bran. If you're not familiar with oat bran, you can get it with all the hot cereal. It's not hard to find. And the actual texture of it is it's just a lot smaller than oats. It's very tiny and grainy. So 1 full cup of that, but we're also gonna add some flour to it as well. Oh, that's heavy. This is white whole wheat flour. I didn't purposely get that. I thought it was whole wheat, but that's all good. We're gonna go ahead and add 1/2 cup of that. Then for a leavening agent, which makes it rise, we're gonna add our good old-fashioned baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of that. And we're gonna add in just a little pinch of salt. Always goes a long way with baking. And for spices, we're gonna add some ground Saigon cinnamon. Not gonna measure that. Just to make these extra spicy, I'm gonna add in some ginger. If you have like a sprinkled ginger, that works perfect. This so happens to be a stir-in paste, so I'm actually gonna add that to my liquid combination. I'm gonna add just a little squeeze of my ginger in there, and then we're gonna finish it up with some pumpkin pie spice. No right or wrong here with the spices, you guys. The key is just to make it spicy, make it taste like pumpkin. Now we're just gonna go ahead and make sure we get all our dry ingredients mixed in together. That's essentially the reason why I mix the wet separate from the dry ingredients, is just to make sure you've got your baking powder all mixed in, your salt, your spices. You want that all mixed in together before you add the liquid to it. Sometimes if you just do it all at once, you don't really evenly distribute all your ingredients, which can turn into an inconsistent product. And now we're just gonna go ahead and add our wet ingredients to the dry. Now, if you used coconut oil like myself, it does kind of start to harden a little bit, so you might notice it's a little bit chunky, but that's okay because it's gonna basically melt down anyways once you bake your muffins. All right, last ingredient, best ingredient for the chocolate chip portion of this recipe, I'm going to use mini chocolate chips. Highly suggest you use the mini just because for the same amount of grams, weight by weight, you're gonna get a lot further with your mini chocolate chips, ensuring that each muffin has chocolate chips in it. What I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna save some to not put in the batter so I can sprinkle a little on top. So for right now, I'm just gonna add 1 tablespoon of the chocolate chips to fold it into the batter. It smells so good, it smells just like fall. Now you're gonna go ahead and take your muffin pan, and I already went ahead and sprayed it with a nonstick cooking spray. I'm just gonna take this 1/4 of a cup measuring cup to measure evenly into each of your muffins, and this recipe should make about 12 muffins. Before these go in the oven, I'm gonna take 1 more tablespoon of my mini chocolate chips. I'm gonna set that on a napkin, and we're gonna use those to just ensure we get a little chocolate chip on top of each and every muffin. And then these are gonna go in the oven for anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. All right, guys, it's been 15 minutes in the oven for my muffins. I took them out, they looked good then, and I let them just cool on a wire rack. They came out perfect, really great consistency and texture. All right, guys, they're not the biggest muffin you've ever seen, but you can have a couple of them because the Nutritionals are that much better than if you're going to Starbucks and blowing all your macros on one of their muffins. So these are gonna give you a great source of fiber, protein, they're gonna be filling, high in vitamin A, and a great little staple for the fall. So I hope you guys give these a try. Also, make sure you store them in the fridge. That way they don't go stale too soon. They'll stay much fresher stored in the fridge. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, when you make my recipes, please tag me on the Instagram, and we will see you in the next video.